Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that is, quite frankly, a massive game changer for India's future, the blue economy. We're going to break down how India plans to harness its incredible ocean resources to really supercharge its growth. And, this is especially crucial if you're gearing up for exams, because this is a really hot topic right now. So here's how we'll tackle this. First, we'll look at the big picture, the government's vision. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the challenges, like attracting investment and sparking innovation. We'll also touch on the classic problem of bureaucracy, and then we'll tie it all together with a clear roadmap for what needs to happen next. Okay, let's jump right into our first section. Before we can even talk about the future here, we've got to get on the same page about what the blue economy actually is. And trust me, the scale of this opportunity is just immense. Now, take a look at this official definition from the Ministry of Earth Sciences. The keywords here are absolutely crucial. It's not just about ocean resources like fish or minerals. It's also about the man-made infrastructure, the ports, the ships, the technology. But here's the most important part. It's what you might call a triple bottom line. We're talking economic growth, yes, but also environmental sustainability and national security. So this isn't just a money-making scheme. It's about building a stronger, greener, and more secure India. To really get a sense of the scale here, let's start with what we've physically got. India has this massive coastline stretching over 11,000 kilometers. And that's not just a line on the map. It's our front door to a massive marine world. It's our ports, our fishing villages, our coastal communities. It's huge. And because of that coastline, we have jurisdiction over what's called an exclusive economic zone, or EEZ. And it's enormous. 2.4 million square kilometers. That is a vast expanse of ocean, just teeming with resources that India has the right to explore and use. This number right here, definitely one to remember for your exams. And look, this isn't just some far-off dream. It's already happening. The blue economy, as it stands today, contributes about 4% to India's GDP. More importantly, it supports the livelihoods of millions of people, especially in our coastal areas. So the key takeaway is that we're not starting from zero. We're actually building on a pretty solid foundation. But the ambition is to take this to a whole new level. The government has set this incredibly bold target, a $100 billion blue economy by 2030. Think about that. This isn't just an economic goal. It's seen as a vital engine for achieving that bigger national dream of Viksit Bharat, a developed India by 2047. And this slide right here perfectly shows that the government is serious. This table is your go-to guide for the big-ticket schemes driving this whole thing. You've got the Deep Ocean Mission, for example, which is all about exploring the deep sea and developing wild new technologies. Then there's the Sagarmala program, which is laser-focused on turning our ports into world-class trade hubs. These initiatives are the real power behind the vision. Okay, so we've seen the vision, right? It's grand, it's ambitious, but let's get real for a second and talk about the challenges. A vision like this needs a ton of money to become reality. So in this next section, we're going to look at the roadblocks that are stopping private investment from really pouring into the blue economy. So why are investors a bit hesitant? Well, first off, there's no single place to find a list of good, vetted projects that are ready for investment. Second, our blue finance system is still pretty new, which creates this missing middle problem. Projects are often too big for small loans, but too small for the giant investors. Third, we're missing a standard blue taxonomy, basically a clear rulebook that defines what actually counts as a sustainable blue investment. Without it, investors are kind of just guessing. And finally, there's what economists call information asymmetry. Fancy term, right? It just means investors feel they don't have enough data to really understand the risks. And when you can't assess the risk, you don't invest. Simple as that. But hey, the good news is we don't have to figure this all out from scratch. We can look at what other countries are doing. And here you've got two really interesting but very different approaches. On one hand, you have Mauritius, a true pioneer in policy. They created the world's first ever Ministry of Blue Economy and even launched a sovereign blue bond to fund marine projects. Super innovative. On the other hand, you've got Singapore, the master of tech and efficiency. They built an AI-powered megaport that slashed the time ships spend waiting around. So you see, there are different ways to win, one through smart policy, the other through cutting-edge tech. Now, this isn't just about huge infrastructure projects and big money. It's also about the small, nimble, creative companies that are pushing the boundaries of what's possible. So in this section, let's talk about the super important role of startups in taking cool new tech from a lab and putting it to work in the ocean. Wow. Okay, This chart tells a really powerful story, and honestly, it's a bit concerning. Less than 5%. Let that sink in. Less than 5% of all climate tech funding in India goes to ocean-related solutions. So why is there this massive gap? Well, investors often see these ocean ventures as just too risky, with really long and uncertain payoff timelines. I mean, think about it. A tidal energy project could take years of research and development before it makes a single penny. That's a way tougher sell to an investor compared to, say, a software app that can be built and launched in just a few months. So, how do we fix this? How do we get these blue tech startups the fuel they need? The source lays out a really clear 4-step plan. A marine venture catalyst fund would give them that critical early-stage money to get their ideas off the ground. Special marine innovation hubs would give them the labs and expertise they need. Fellowships would create a pipeline of smart entrepreneurs. And finally, if the government becomes the first customer for these new technologies, it creates a guaranteed market. You see how each piece of this puzzle helps build a healthy, thriving ecosystem? Okay, so we've covered the need for money and new ideas. But you could have all the funding and innovation in the world, and it wouldn't matter without a business-friendly environment. So in our 4th section, we're going to tackle the dreaded red tape that's slowing everything down and talk about how we can slice right through it. This quote just nails the problem, doesn't it? It perfectly describes the bureaucratic nightmare a lot of entrepreneurs find themselves in. Just imagine you want to start a sustainable shrimp farm. You might need a permit from the Ministry of Environment, another from the Ministry of Fisheries, another from the State Maritime Board, and maybe even one from the local government. And all these different bodies have their own rules which often contradict each other. It's a maze of paperwork that can stall a great project for years before it even gets started. But you know what? It really doesn't have to be this complicated. Other countries have already figured this out. Singapore's maritime single window. It's basically a one-stop digital shop. It took 16 different port-related applications and put them all in one place. It saved thousands of hours and millions of dollars. And look at Chile. They cut the approval time for new fish farms from a painful 34 months down to just 8. That simple change unleashed over $1 billion in new investment. This proves that cutting red tape isn't just about making life easier. It's a powerful way to unlock serious economic growth. And that brings us to our final and I'd say most important section, the way forward. We've looked at the vision, we've dissected the challenges, we've explored the solutions. Now it's time to put it all together into a clear, actionable roadmap for India's blue economy. So for all you exam takers out there, this is the part you'll really want to lock in. So what's the master plan? Well, the source boils it down to these 5 key strategic moves. First, create that blue taxonomy we talked about, the rulebook for sustainable investment. Second, build a pipeline of ready-to-go projects to attract investors. Third, launch a special innovation fund just for blue tech startups. Fourth, create a single business desk to be the one-stop shop for anyone wanting to invest. And finally, build a national digital portal to bring all the information and government services together in one place. Now, I know that's a list of 5 things, and that can be a lot to remember, especially when you're under pressure in an exam. So, to make it super easy for you, we've cooked up a simple little memory trick. Just remember the phrase, Blue D. And here's how it works. B is for the blue taxonomy. L is for leading projects. U is for unlocking funds. E is for the enabling portal. And D is for the business desk. Blue D. See? Simple, contextual, and a really effective way to remember the entire strategy for India's blue economy. And here we are. This is your ultimate cheat sheet. If you take away only one thing from our discussion today, make it this slide. You've got the official MOST definition with its 3 pillars. You have the key data points you can drop into your answers, 4% of GDP, the coastline length, the EZ size, and that $100 billion target. You've got the 3 major government schemes you absolutely must know. You've got the core challenges, red tape and funding, and of course, the key recommendations, all wrapped up in our handy Blue D framework. It's the whole topic right here in one place. So we'll leave you with this final thought. Can India's oceans truly be the engine that powers its dream of becoming a developed nation by 2047? The potential is absolutely staggering. A literal ocean of opportunities is out there, waiting. We have a clear roadmap. The only real question left is, do we have the collective will to make it happen? The future of India's economy might just depend on it. Thanks for joining us.